Lost: The Search for Deputy Kizer. Written by Tina S. Transformation. Produced by Literal Publications. Prologue. If you were going to die tomorrow, what would your last meal be? Her voice came from behind me, lazy and grinning, like she already knew the punchline. That's the thing about death, Deputy Mickey Kizer continued, tugging open her locker with a creak. You never know when it's coming, so you might as well eat what you want. Her smirk caught me sideways, crooked and knowing. I rolled my eyes, reaching for my duty belt. You're a smart-ass, I muttered, but my tone was fond. She'd been cracking jokes since the day I met her 6 years ago, when I was the wide-eyed rookie and she had already been running the night shift for over a year. We'd been paired up in those early days, chasing drunks through ditches and babysitting bar fights. She always had a snarky comeback ready, especially when it came to my juice cleanses and protein shakes. The longest hours we ever logged together weren't on drunks or domestics. They were on the nights we sat in silence outside Raymond Keller's fence line. Back then, he was already a shadow in the county's cold cases, a man whose property seemed to swallow things whole. Kizer had been after him for trespassing, poaching, maybe worse, but he was too careful, too clean. We'd watch the dark stretch of his land for hours, coffee going stale, both of us knowing he was in there, watching us back. Every time we drove away empty-handed, and every time it felt like losing to something we couldn't see. Gotta balance out all your kale with a little sarcasm, she shot back, laughing under her breath. I chuckled, unhooking my holster and setting my radio down. As I went to hang up my duty belt, my eyes caught a faded folder peeking from the stack on Kizer's locker. Keen, Mara, age 14, marked unsolved. A girl's face, freckled, braces glinting, stared from the photo clipped to it. Something about her eyes made my stomach twist. But Kizer's voice snapped me back. You're overthinking again, Rose, she said, smirking. I leaned into the narrow locker space to hang my belt when she stepped beside me, her own gear clattering against metal as she shoved it into the shelf above mine. That's when it hit me. A scent, so sharp and foreign it sliced through the faint tang of old coffee and industrial cleaner. It was thick, rotten, metallic, like death. Not the metaphorical kind, the real one. The kind you never forget after your first body call. I froze. My vision blurred for a second, a sudden dizzy pressure building behind my eyes. I had to steady myself with one hand on the locker door. My lungs stuttered, breath catching in my throat like I'd swallowed smoke, and just as fast, it passed. She shifted, stepped away, shut her locker door with a solid, metallic bang, and the smell was gone, like it had been carried out on her breath. My heart thudded against my ribs, heavy and offbeat. Mickey? I said, louder than I meant to. She turned at the door, halfway into the hallway, and looked at me with that same familiar smile. Easy, innocent. A flash of teeth under tired eyes. Yeah? She asked, tone light. Is everything okay? I blinked at her, pulse still drumming. She tilted her head, her ponytail slipping over one shoulder. Yeah, everything's really good. Why? I stared at her, forcing my features calm even though my stomach hadn't stopped twisting. No reason, I said, finally, swallowing down the unease. Just wanted to make sure you were good before I head out. Her eyes held mine a second longer than I liked. Then she nodded, tossed a mock salute, and disappeared through the door like she hadn't just carried the scent of something long buried. The moment she was gone, I sank onto the bench. My palms were slick, my forehead clammy. I ran both hands over my face. Maybe I hadn't eaten enough. Low blood sugar, stress, dehydration. That had to be it. Deep down, Past all the logic and routine training, I knew that smell. I'd smelled it in abandoned barns, wrecked sedans, and crime scenes soaked into the floorboards. Tonight, it had been wrapped around my old partner like a second skin. Kizer was leaning against the counter, flipping through an incident report with one hand and sipping coffee with the other when I walked out of the locker room. She had a way of reading while listening, her eyes skimming the page, but her ears sharp enough to catch every word in the room. "Don't forget your pen," she said, tossing one across the desk without looking up. It landed by my elbow with a little neat slide. I smirked. "How do you always know?" "Because you always forget." She finally glanced up, one eyebrow raised. "You'd lose your badge if it didn't come with a clip." Samuels chuckled from the corner. "She's not wrong." Kizer shrugged, lips twisting with a ghost of a grin before she bent back over her report. She wasn't loud, never tried to steal the spotlight, but the station always felt steadier when she was there.